No one touches my daughter when I'm not here, especially not you. Maya Williams froze, kneeling beside a porcelain bathtub. She had just finished rinsing the last bit of soap from little Sophia's curly hair. The 2-year-old girl giggled softly, splashing her tiny hands against the warm water. Maya smiled until that voice. The deep, sharp baritone of Gregory Whitman hit her like a slap. Her hand trembled midair. Her heart thundered against her ribs. For a full second, she couldn't breathe. He was home, but he wasn't supposed to be home. Maya's mind raced. She had only taken Sophia upstairs to help her cool down. The girl had been sweating and fussy, cheeks flushed, skin slightly warm, likely a low-grade fever. The nanny had left early. No one else was around. Maya couldn't bear to leave the child uncomfortable, so she'd drawn a small bath, just warm enough, just safe enough, and stayed with her, humming softly. But now everything had changed. Gregory's footsteps stormed up the staircase. Maya stood quickly, wrapping a towel around Sophia's wet body and lifting her from the tub with practiced care. "Mr. Whitman, she began, turning toward the door. But it was too late. He appeared at the threshold like a thundercloud in a tailored suit, eyes blazing, fists clenched. "What the hell do you think you're doing to my daughter?" he roared. Sophia startled in Maya's arms, letting out a soft, confused cry. The towel slipped slightly. Maya held the child tighter, instinctively protective. "She had a fever," Maya said, her voice shaking. "I was only, give her to me." Gregory stepped forward and yanked Sophia from her arms with a jolt that made the child shriek in fear. "Daddy," Sophia whimpered, clinging to his jacket, water dripping down her arms. Gregory cradled her tightly, glaring at Maya. "You were bathing her. Are you insane?" "She was overheating," Maya said, trembling now, but still steady in tone. "I didn't want her to faint. The nanny wasn't here. I did what I thought was safest." "You are not her mother," he shouted. "You are an employee. You clean. You do not touch my child." "I wasn't trying to overstep," Maya said softly. She was calling for help. She needed someone. Gregory's jaw tightened. His knuckles whitened around Sophia's damp towel. "Get your things. You're done here." Maya looked at the frightened child, who was now sobbing into her father's shoulder. "Please," she said, Maya whispered. "Let me calm her. Just let me," Gregory growled now. She lowered her gaze, nodded once, and left the bathroom in silence. Gregory stood in place for a moment. Sophia still shaking in his arms. He was breathing hard, the adrenaline of parental fear still roaring in his blood. He glanced at the half-drained bathtub, the washcloth still hanging from the side, the faint scent of baby shampoo lingering in the steam. Downstairs, Maya packed her bag in silence. She didn't speak to anyone, didn't defend herself, didn't explain the tenderness she'd shown the little girl over the past week. She folded her blue cotton dress with care, the same one now damp from where Sophia had leaned against her shoulder. Frank, the old house manager, met her at the door. "You okay?" he asked gently. "I just wanted her to feel better," Maya said, her voice soft, almost fragile. He gave her a lone look. "That's why he's angry. You did something he couldn't. What do you think of Maya? If you also feel the quiet sacrifice she made, give her a like to show your support. And don't forget to comment where you're watching this video from. Who knows? Someone right near you might be watching it, too." Maya gave a faint smile, then disappeared out the door, leaving only the echo of warm water and a child's fading cry behind. The soft ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway was the only sound that filled the room. Gregory Whitman sat rigid on the leather armchair in his study. Sophia curled up in his lap, wrapped tightly in a dry blanket. She had cried herself into a doze after the bathtub incident, her body trembling for long minutes, even as he whispered reassurances she didn't seem to hear. His heart was still pounding, not from anger now, but from confusion. He'd come home early, expecting to find the house in order, and his staff performing as expected. Instead, he had walked into a moment so intimate, so raw that it triggered something primal. Seeing Maya, that quiet young woman with gentle eyes and an unobtrusive presence standing over his daughter's bare skin, had sent him into a blind panic. His mind had gone straight to the worst possibilities: danger, negligence, trespass. But now, with Sophia asleep against him, he was haunted not by what he saw, but by the child's reaction when he took her away. She hadn't clung to him the way she once did. Her little fists didn't wrap around his collar. She had sobbed for Maya, reached for her with trembling arms. It was the kind of cry Gregory hadn't heard since Maria, his wife, died nearly 2 years ago. That cry, the one from the gut, meant only one thing: loss. Frank knocked gently at the open door. "Sir." Gregory looked up. "Yes. Just wanted to make sure you and the little one were all right." Frank's eyes shifted to Sophia. "She settled down. She's sleeping," Gregory replied quietly. Frank stepped inside, folded his hands in front of him, and cleared his throat. "Permission to speak freely, sir." Gregory raised an eyebrow. "Go ahead. You were wrong to send Maya away like that." Gregory's brow furrowed. "She was bathing my daughter without permission. That's not just unprofessional. It's over the line." "It might be." Frank nodded. "But sometimes lines are crossed for the right reasons." Gregory scoffed. "This isn't about intention, Frank. It's about boundaries. I don't know this woman. She doesn't know my daughter." Frank let out a slow breath. "You may not know her, but Sophia does." Gregory blinked. "What?" "Sir, she called that girl Mama Maya. You didn't hear it because you were shouting. But I did. Maya didn't make her say it. It just came out." He paused. "That kind of connection doesn't happen in 3 weeks unless someone's been doing something right." Gregory's chest tightened. He remembered the way Sophia had clung to Maya's shoulder. The way she'd buried her face into her neck and whispered in a voice so small, "Don't let go." He looked down at his daughter now. Her small hand rested against his wrist, fingers twitching in sleep. Her breathing was uneven, disturbed. "She's 2, Gregory murmured. "She doesn't know what she's saying." Frank shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe she knows exactly what safety feels like." There was a silence, a heavy one. "Why didn't the nanny stay with her?" Gregory asked finally. "She had a family emergency. Left earlier this afternoon. Maya offered to step in. No one forced her. She just saw the child needed comfort and did something about it." Gregory sighed and leaned back. "I hired her to clean bathrooms, not to play mother." Sir," Frank said, his tone firmer now. "With all due respect, cleaning bathrooms doesn't keep a child from burning up with fever. It doesn't read her poetry. It doesn't sing her old songs from when she was still learning words. That girl did all of that quietly, without asking for anything." Gregory closed his eyes, the guilt seeping in like a slow leak. He remembered his wife's voice reading to Sophia late at night, her soft laughter echoing down the hallway. He hadn't heard that in so long. And yet somehow Maya had brought it back. Not the same voice, not the same laugh, but the same calm. Still, his instincts warred with reason. He couldn't allow anyone, especially someone he barely knew, to overtake a role he wasn't ready to surrender. He was Sophia's father. He was responsible. "You think I should have thanked her?" he asked, his tone sharper than intended. "I think," Frank replied. "You should have asked her why she was doing it before deciding what she meant by it." The older man turned and left without another word. Gregory looked down at Sophia again. Her tiny face, red from earlier crying, was pressed against his chest. Her lips parted as she murmured something in her sleep. "Mama," he froze. It could have meant Maria. It could have meant Maya or both. He didn't know anymore. He sat in silence for a long time until the light outside began to fade and the house grew dim. He didn't call the agency. Didn't report Maya, but he didn't call her back either. That night, after putting Sophia to bed, he wandered the house like a ghost, ending up in the guest bathroom where the scene declared herself as anything other than a survivor. Gregory had insisted on sitting in the front row, right next to Sophia, who wore a lavender dress and a sparkly headband, legs dangling from the folding seat. As Maya peeked through the curtain, Sophia caught her gaze and grinned, waving wildly. Gregory gave her a small thumbs up. A voice crackled through the microphone. Our next speaker is someone whose story has moved many of us, quietly, powerfully, and with remarkable grace. Please welcome Maya Williams. The applause started as she walked out, gentle, then rising as she stepped into the light. Her knees nearly buckled, but she kept her eyes forward, shoulders lifted. She stood at the podium, placed her notes down, and took a breath. Good evening, she began, her voice soft but clear. If someone had told me a year ago I'd be standing on this stage, I would have laughed. I didn't believe I had anything to say. Nothing the world wanted to hear. Anyway, she paused, scanning the crowd. But then something happened. I was given a job. Not glamorous, not public, just a job. Watching a little girl, protecting her, loving her. And that child reminded me that silence is not safety, that hiding is not healing. A few heads nodded. A woman in the third row dabbed her eye. I came from struggle. I came from fear. I changed my name to escape a shadow that had followed me for years. And I almost let that fear define the rest of my life. She took a step forward, no longer gripping the podium. But what I've learned, what I am still learning, is that courage doesn't always look like standing on a battlefield. Sometimes it looks like showing up at a breakfast table. Sometimes it looks like holding a child in the dark. Sometimes it's standing on a stage like this, heart pounding, knees shaking, but knowing you have something worth saying. The room was still, attentive, moved. Maya pressed forward. We talk a lot about justice, about fairness, but I've come to believe justice isn't just what happens in a courtroom. It's what happens when a woman stands up and says, "This is who I am. You don't get to erase me." Applause rippled again, gentle and affirming. She smiled, just a little. Today, I am a mother, not by birth, but by choice. I am a partner, not because someone gave me permission, but because we chose each other, and I am no longer afraid of being seen. With that, she stepped back. The applause swelled, then rose to its feet. As she returned backstage, her breath caught in her throat. It wasn't pride that overwhelmed her. It was release. The weight of years lifted. The echoes of doubt silenced. Gregory met her at the side exit, eyes full of pride. Sophia broke away from him and flung her arms around Maya's waist. You were so good, she squealed. Maya laughed, blinking back tears. You think so? Sophia nodded. You talked like a superhero. Gregory smiled, pulling them both into an embrace. You were brilliant. That night, as they returned to the estate, the house felt different, warmer, more open. Maya sat by the fireplace wrapped in a blanket, tea in hand, while Gregory reviewed the latest chapter of his book. Sophia lay on the rug nearby, coloring with quiet concentration. Do you think it'll last? Maya asked suddenly, her voice breaking the calm. Gregory looked up. The peace, she nodded. He set down the pages. I think peace isn't something that lasts. It's something we choose every day, even when it's hard. Maya smiled faintly. I chose it today. He moved to sit beside her, and tomorrow I'll choose it again with you. Later, as Maya tucked Sophia into bed, the little girl reached up and cupped Maya's face with her small hands. You're my real mommy now, right? Maya's breath caught. Yes, baby, she whispered. I always have been. Outside, the moon hung low and silver, casting soft light over the sleeping garden. Inside, 3 hearts beat steady together. And for the first time, Maya didn't feel like a guest in her life. She felt like she belonged. The morning after Maya's speech was calm in the Whitman household. Yet underneath the quiet surface, something had shifted. The sun streamed through the tall bay windows, spilling golden warmth over the breakfast table where Gregory read the newspaper. Sophia munched on strawberries and Maya brewed coffee, humming a soft melody that had taken residence in her mind since the night before. It was the first time in years that Maya had woken up without the undercurrent of fear. She had stood in front of strangers and declared her story. And instead of rejection, she had been met with applause, not for being flawless, but for being real. Sophia was giggling about the way her toast looked like a duck when Frank entered the room, clearing his throat with a gravity that instantly shifted the atmosphere. "There's someone at the gate," he said. "A woman says her name is Tasha Williams." Maya froze. The mug in her hand stopped mid-pour. She turned slowly to face Frank. "Tasha," she whispered more to herself than to anyone else. Gregory stood. "Who is she?" "My sister," Maya said, voice barely audible. "We haven't spoken in almost 9 years." Frank added, "She's not being aggressive. Says she just wants to talk alone if possible." Maya's hands trembled as she wiped them on a dish towel. "Let her in, but keep an eye." Gregory touched her arm gently. "You don't have to do this." "I do," she said. "For me, foreclosure." Outside, Tasha stood beside the fountain in the circular drive, wearing jeans and a simple coat, her hair in a short natural cut. Her face was tired, older than Maya remembered, but her eyes still held that familiar flicker of fire. Maya approached slowly. Tasha turned, eyes already shimmering. "Hey Jesus," they stared at each other for a long moment before Tasha stepped forward and pulled Maya into a tight, tentative hug. Maya hesitated, then returned it. "I saw you on television," Tasha said, voice thick. "Didn't even recognize you at first, but then I did and I had to come." Maya nodded, unsure of what to say. Tasha exhaled shakily. "I owe you an apology. A big one." Maya's throat tightened. "I blamed you for walking away." Tasha continued. "I didn't know what you were carrying. I didn't know what Leon had done to you. I only saw you disappear and thought you abandoned us." "I had to survive," Maya said softly. "And I didn't think anyone would come with me." Tasha nodded slowly. "I get it now. Took me too long, but I get it." They sat together on the garden bench under the weeping willow. The same place Maya had sat the day she almost ran. Now it had become a place of return. Tasha looked around the estate. "You live here?" Maya gave a small smile. "I do." And the girl Sophia, she's my daughter now." A flicker of emotion crossed Tasha's face. "I always knew you'd be a mother one day. You had that kind of love in you." Even when we were little, they talked for nearly an hour, about their childhood, about their mother, about the chaos that had torn their family apart. There were tears, laughter, silence, healing. Eventually, Tasha stood. "I won't stay long. I just needed you to know I'm proud of you and I'm sorry." "Oh." Maya stood too, wiping her eyes. "Thank you for coming." Before she left, Tasha reached into her pocket and pulled out a small faded photograph of 2 little girls in matching yellow dresses, smiling at the camera, arms slung around each other. "I kept this," she said. "Even when I was angry, I never stopped being your sister." Maya took the photo with trembling fingers, her eyes flooding with tears. That night, Gregory found her sitting by the fireplace, staring at the photo. "She showed up," he said gently. Maya nodded and she said she forgave me, but more importantly, she gave me the chance to forgive myself. Gregory sat beside her. "That's a rare kind of grace. She brought back a piece of me I thought I'd buried." Maya whispered. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "Then maybe it's time we start building something new." They sat in comfortable silence, the fire crackling low. From the hallway, Sophia called out, "Maya, can you come read me the bunny book?" Maya stood smiling. "Be right there, baby." Gregory watched her walk away, strength in every step. And he knew this woman, this incredible woman, had not just found her way back to the world. She was lighting the path for others. The boardroom at Whitman Enterprises towered high above downtown Los Angeles, its glass walls offering a sweeping view of the city below. Inside, the atmosphere was cool and charged, the kind of hush that falls over a room right before something breaks. 11 members of the executive board sat around the sleek mahogany table, their expressions varying from composed concern to quiet disapproval. Gregory Whitman stood at the head of the table, his hands clasped loosely in front of him, back straight, voice calm. "I appreciate everyone being here," he began. "I called this special meeting to address the growing tension surrounding the recent media